the best artists do not give a fuck. Like, if you're ever in New York City, you got to go down to the Comedy Cellar, because on any given night, some of your favorite comedians will pop in. Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, Chappelle, Michael Che, Michelle Wolf, like comics that I love that I think are doing such great work will pop in and they'll do 15, 20, 25 minutes. And you'll see there's a bunch of comics that are like so trying to get on, that are like trying to make a name for themselves. Like they so want to pop. And the best comics are the ones who, like, from the moment they take the mic out of the mic stand, they don't give a fuck about anything. They actually don't even like care that like they're in a basement and like there's 80 people here tonight and there's a couple here. They almost just treat it like it's like just pure raw human expression. Like when I see Dave pop in, there's times he'll still have a backpack on. Like he hasn't even fully taken his backpack or jacket off. He's just like, it's like he's just having a conversation with 80 people. And I'm like, the degree to which he does not give a fuck is so high. And everybody here can tell. But I think that speaks to something even deeper, which is in performance. He's in a state of flow. Yeah. He's just flowing. And I wanted to ask you guys as athletes, like, so much of what comedy is, it is a cerebral art. But then when I talk to, and now I've pivoted to a new chapter in my career, acting and being on set, and I'm season 2 of the morning show comes out Friday, September 17th. So watch it.
Yeah, it'll be out.
Yeah, it'll be out by the time you guys see this.
Came out last Friday.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, it'll be out. Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, Billy Crudup, just up and comers that you haven't heard of. Myself.
Right.
No, but one of the things that I noticed with being on set with really great performers is their ability to drop into a scene like this. And so much of what I realized in performance is it is a physical act. It's actually not a heady mental thing. And I think the thing that fucked me up the most when I was playing high school basketball and trying out for the team, it's so dorky to say this in front of an NBA player, but like I so cared. Like I cared too much. Like I so wanted to impress the coach and like try to get on, and like I got to pass and then screen, and then there'd be people who didn't fucking pass and they're just like, man, go who? They go, fuck the rules, and they would just like launch. Yeah. And like I remember coaches like, these are the rules, and I'm like, no. There's two types of people. There are rule followers, and I think that's that like 80% of the league, and then there's just straight up rule breakers that like are like, fuck the. Now you have to be talented enough to do it, otherwise you look like a complete idiot. 100%. Right. But there is a level of that like, I truly don't give a fuck attitude that informs like the flow in which you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the first example that comes into my mind when you talk about somebody who does it at an elite level and doesn't give a fuck is Steph Curry. When he's on the court, he plays so free. When I watch his highlights, when I watch him play, when I watch him in a game, there is never any mental restriction over what he can do on the court. Yeah. And I think back to I started.
Was there a period of time where you played like that? Have you had moments like that in your career?
So I'll answer that for him.
So in college, I wasn't a very good college player. I was like a mental pretzel. Like,
so you were not a good college player?
No, I was undrafted. I was a bench player in college.
But you played for Michigan.
He played for Michigan, and he was the 6th man of the year in the Big Ten.
So. But I seriously, I averaged 8 points a game as a senior. Like I was not some sort of like, oh, let's play through Duncan type of situation.
Yeah.
And
did you ever think you were going to make the league?
I mean, it was way down. Maybe basically, I thought it was much more likely that I was going to be playing in, Lithuania for $2,500 a month. Like, really? Truthfully. But what I was going to say, my first year in the NBA, I was on a 2-way contract. So I was back and forth between the G League and the NBA.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make a shot. I shot 28% from 3 in the opportunity that I got in the NBA. I played like 15, 17 games. So it was a small sample size. But nonetheless, I was so locked up in my mind because exactly that. I cared so much. I wanted to play well so badly. This was my one shot. I was an undrafted kid. Coach Spo, for whatever reason, was actually giving me opportunity to go out and play meaningful minutes. Right. And here I was fucking up every opportunity. And maybe, I don't know if you can relate to this, but like those mistakes compound too.
Yeah, totally.
You miss a shot, all of a sudden
it starts getting in your head.
Worse and worse.
Yeah.
And then what ultimately ended up happening is that I, through a lot of work of myself, but also like a ton of help from the coaching staff, my teammates, instilling confidence, they saw like an ability that I had, and they helped me tap into that not giving a fuck.
Right.
To the point where like, I remember when our season got put on pause going into the bubble, I was like watching some film from that year, and I was going through some of my shot takes, like not even makes. And I was thinking, I cannot believe that I was shooting these shots. Like, it was crazy for me to watch them.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, it was a crazy transition for me.
You didn't know why you took them? You were just
no, like they were just ridiculous, like 32 feet, hands in my face. Like, but I was just letting it fly. And that's, as a performer or a basketball player, I feel like that's when you're actually able to perform to the best of your ability, because you're unlocked mentally.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that resonates with you from a performing standpoint in what you're doing as well.
Totally. For me, it's just like putting in a ton of reps. Yeah. So doing all these like little baby shows. I treat the way I've cracked it for me, it's like three things. I treat comedy as an art form, like football and jazz. And I'll explain that. What I mean by that is in show business, you get so many looks. I think of it like possessions at the line. So I remember with my morning show audition, you'll see when we open season 2, I have to do a song and dance number with Reese Witherspoon. I do not sing, I do not dance. But if you've seen the morning show, you know it's like an inside look into how morning television works. So I thought to myself, I was like, wait a second. I've played a fake news anchor for 7 years, 4 years at The Daily Show, 3 years at Patriot Act. I already have the wardrobe. I call Chris Rock. Chris Rock's like, bro, you don't even have to act. You already look like somebody who can do local news. Like, I would call you to tell me the 5-day forecast. He's like, Jennifer Aniston has to act. Yeah. Like she's a movie star. She has to act. Motherfucker, you don't have to act. And I'm like, that is like the sweetest burn I've ever heard. Because it's like, it's so kind. You're ripping me a new one, but you're actually like giving me confidence. I'm like, I don't have to act. Like 80% of this is, do you look like the thing you're playing? So I'm like, that's great. But to take it back to football is when I had the audition, I was like, I have to make a moment happen. And one of the best pieces of advice I got was, hey, every time you have an opportunity to step up, give the person on the other side, the coaches, the casting director, the producers, whoever that is. In sports, it's probably coaching staff, GMs, whatever. Give them a problem. So when I read for the role was for the character's name was Eric Delgado. So I was like, oh, I think the character is Hispanic. I think they're looking for a good-looking young Latino actor to play across from Reese Witherspoon. I was like, I could stretch this a little bit because I got enough melanin to do this, but I can't sing, I can't dance. But I do know in a morning news segment, Michael Strahan isn't good at singing or dancing. But if you saw Michael Strahan kind of like singing and dancing with his mom, like, hey, the New Year's are coming up and like, I'm going to sing, I'm going to sing Baby It's Cold Outside with my mom. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, oh, that's cute. Michael Strahan singing Baby It's Cold Outside for the holidays with his mom. So I call my mom, and it was the weekend of my sister's wedding. I call my mom into the room. I go, Mom, read this with me. We're going to sing Baby It's Cold Outside. So I go directly to Cam. I go, hey, I'm Hasan Minhaj. I'm reading for the role of Eric Delgado. I'm here to sing Baby It's Cold Outside. I don't sing, I don't dance. I'm here with my mom. But let's be honest, this would probably happen on our morning news segment. And then we play Baby It's Cold Outside. My mom has no frame of reference for the song. She's like, well, why is this man telling her not to leave? Like, this feels a little creepy, whatever. We sing the song. I'm okay at hitting my notes. I'm serviceable at best. My mom, who immigrated to the United States like in 1985, has no idea what this song is. Long story short, Jen, Reese, who are executive producers on the show, everybody on the show saw the audition, and they called and they were like, yo, we loved your audition. But what I did is I presented a problem. I gave the GMs, the coaching staff, a problem. They thought one thing, but I'm like, the team could use this. To take it back to football is, that's a possession. And what you want to do every possession when you're at the line of scrimmage is do everything you can to pick up extra yardage. Because comedy is one of those things where you do hundreds of sets. So every set you should look at it like, hey, how can I pick up some extra yardage at the line of scrimmage? And if you don't fuck around and you treat every opportunity like that, you might get a Hail Mary. Like, you might get just an opening and something happens in the room, something happens in that moment. So that's the first piece of it. The jazz part of it is this. I'm very new to jazz. All like the OGs that I look up to tell me like, you should learn more about jazz. Jazz, even though it's an impromptu medium, involves an incredible amount of preparation and understanding of music and the musicality of how all different instruments play together. And the jazz part of it was for like someone who's very heady and in my head like me, was, hey, do all these baby sets to build up your confidence. And then when it's time to audition, then when it's time to be on set with Reese or with Jen, or if you have to host the White House Correspondents' Dinner or whatever, something that's out of your comfort zone, you can then play jazz. You can see an opening happen, and then you know to take your solo, you know to step up to the spot. But that's only possible when I have this firm chair to sit on of like, all right, you got all the preparation, now just play. And so the moments that I've been really proud of are those moments that I've kind of gone for it and played jazz a little bit, and it's worked out, you know?
Man.
So to me, I've thought of my career like that, like football jazz, like, because I have friends that they'll fuck off. They'll take possessions off. They'll be like, nobody's really watching this show. Who gives a shit? This is going to be on Comedy Central. Nobody's going to see this. Like, they treat these little things, they don't try to get extra yards on each possession, but it does add up, you know?
You talk about earlier how you have friends that are funnier than you, or
Yeah.
people that are smarter than you, and
Yeah.
maybe it's arbitrary, but that is a pretty solid approach to anything.
Say that was
I
poetic.
think. I mean,
No, I mean,
The football and jazz
that was-
yeah, like I
that
don't think it's a
was-
mistake that you are where
Yeah.
you are if that's your mindset. If that's your approach.
I think my strength, like I've held myself small, you're right, on certain things. I think my strength is my ability to understand what things can I mix in a new and interesting way to create a new ice cream flavor. So I wasn't interested in just being a pure stand-up comedian. I wanted to rise above the two drink minimum. Like, I'm not interested in just putting a mic in a mic stand and just being in front of a blue curtain. Like, I want to put on a show. Now, there has to be something between like comedy club and, you know, Drake concert.
Right.
Like, obviously it can't be
Somewhere in
Yeah,
there,
it would be
right.
insane if I just had like fire on stage. I mean, Kevin Hart had a special where he was making
was
fun of
gonna
that.
say-
Yeah, but it's an insane thing. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So it's figuring out, hey, what are elements you can do? I think that was like, it's my strength, is like taking reference points that I really like and combining them into making something that's that feels familiar but is new.
Yeah. So since the pandemic, I have a lot of relationship with like different college coaches, and they've all reached out to me to like go on a Zoom and talk to their team or whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of like got a little spiel together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a similar sentiment, but yours is just way more thoughtful and put together. But I absolutely like it resonates with me, this idea of maximizing every opportunity in between the margins.
Yeah.
And I feel like that for my career has been an incredible strength of mine. Like I always say, like showing up is a superpower, like just the ability to continuously show up day in and day out.
Yeah.
And that's exactly that, like any opportunity to gain yardage. And then also like the jazz thing is perfect in that you're bringing your own.
Like when I watch Luca,
flair.
I
Oh,
feel like
man.
he's pure jazz.
He's playing jazz 100%. Now we all can't play jazz like Luca for the
Really?
record. I mean,
No. I mean, in your own way.
In my
like,
own
what
way,
does
for
jazz
sure.
look like in your way?
yeah. So like
yeah.
the creativity there is there in a different way, right? Like he has the ball in his hands. He's going to get 40 ball screens a game minimum. And mixed in with 15, 20 ISOs. Like it's a very different style.
Do you think if he shot 2 for 15, he would truly care?
No.
Because
that's another thing about Luka.
But that's next level too. That's
especially
true.
at
I don't
his-
give a
at
fuck.
his
Yeah.
age to be
Yeah.
so young and to not give a fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it with like Trae Young in the playoffs, throws it off the backboard to John Collins. Like that, when I see that, it's like that's like untapping an entirely different level of being out there and just not caring.